to Poet. I'm Robert Dunn. I'm the editor-in-chief of the New Press Literary Quarterly, and we're coming to you from the Irish Eyes pub in Richmond Hill, Queens. I was passing through the neighborhood here and just happened to look in the window and thought to myself, wouldn't this be a nice place for a poetry show? We have all kinds of goodies here. We have the wood paneling, we have the pool table, we have a very accommodating bar, if that's your idea of a good time, and for many of us it is. And I must say that in doing one of these shows, it requires, no matter where we do it, it requires plenty of pluck. Which is, yeah, I'm getting looks from the crew on that one, but that's okay, because that's what we do around here. In the best tradition of Irish Eyes, they were smiling when we walked in. I just hope they're still smiling when we're through, but we'll do our best. As I say, I have a tendency to attract trouble at these shows. So, in that respect, I've asked to come on one of the leading proponents of the Bad Girl School of Poetry in New York City, and that's Ms. Cynthia Andrews over here, she of the lovely hair. And to counterbalance that, we have a very interesting folk singer, songwriter, musician, and whatever else you care to name. As a matter of fact, he's a beatnik for the 21st century, which is just around the corner, and that's Ad or Jerry. Hope I got that right. He'll kill me later. As a matter of fact, all right.
You did.
Making funny faces there. Well, it is video, so we do make funny faces every once in a while. This is Ad's guitar, as a matter of fact, and I had special clearance to do that special effect. Otherwise, he would have gotten me after the show. Anyway, we'll start with Cynthia. Cynthia has led a very interesting life so far, and it promises to get even more interesting as time goes on. Let me give you a little background on her. She's a former actress. Oh, not another one. Ah, well, she studied with the Strasbergs in Stroudsburg, which is a very nice community upstate. Herbert Berghoff, father of Gary, I believe, and experimental theater at NYU. And she's been reading on the New York City poetry circuit for over 2 years. She's the author of 2 chapbooks, Saving Summer and Homeless, and she's studying for her BA in Humanities at Adelphi University. They haven't caught on to her yet, and is a certified paralegal, and I'm glad to know that somebody on the circuit is actually certified. She's been published in the New Press, Smoke Signals, Waterfront Week, Nomad's Choir, and By the Poem, which was a very cute little broadside for people who didn't have time for a full-service literary magazine all the time. They did 1 poem a month. Cindy was several times there. Cindy, welcome to Poet the Poet.
Thank you, Robert.
Gosh, you're blushing.
Oh, gosh, well.
That's marvelous. So, what inspires you to be a public bad girl?
Oh, well, I don't know how public it is, but certainly private. I guess all of my experiences, both bad and good.
Oh.
Yes.
Anything we can talk about on the air?
Oh, well, it comes through in my poetry.
Mm-hmm. Well, in that case, I think perhaps we'd best get to the poetry. So, why don't you hit us with a piece or two?
Okay, abstractions through a golden eye. I talk dirty to the stars in their dark sockets when the moon is full yet, and I'm still standing here where the sun don't shine and the freaks roam. The poet's paradise, I'd say, where the peace of 12 ejaculations and joy screams hit their peak. I stand in the clouds weeping for the old Christ and renouncing the frailties of my youth. What a drag.
Oh, a drag, huh?
And this is something that's not usually done on the poetry circuit, just because it's very romantic and it happens to rhyme, too. And it was just published in the New Press Literary Quarterly, and it's called The Witching Hour. Where the river runs in a slow drift, and memory disguises her schemes, I am the waxen witch who comes gliding round your dreams. When the water flows in the dark of your eyes and the evil pulls to the shore, I will stretch out my arms to the light of the moon and demand that it hurt you no more. And where the yellow surrounds your ankles at dawn like the glory of the deity's power, I'll collect the petals between my palms and they'll be born again into flowers. I tore the forbidden secret and let you succumb to its force, where the power of my love began, in the fruit of your eyes as its source. while they slowly lost color in the depth of the sky as it closed its door to a past, when the light of day chilled to night and the night grew dark much too fast. But I am sanctified there in your shadow, when you wake in the brisk of dawn, and will be with you there forever, in the fever of your love and scorn. And when the deity's glory returns, and the yellow surrounds me like gold, I'll come out of your shadow at daybreak, where your eyes can receive my own. And the petals will flutter in your palms like wishes that almost came true, like dreams that can't find a focus, like your eyes when they're not quite blue. And you'll give me your hidden secrets then, in the back of your mind in a past where evil pulls in the shadows and the night grows dark much too fast. And you'll tear your rib from your side then and let me succumb to its force, where the power of your love began, in the fruit of my eyes as its source. But memory now lies dormant, disguised in the tide of its schemes, and I am the waxen witch now, who must come gliding round your dreams.
Holy crow. You know, I do feel that a spell has come over me, come to think of it. There's only one antidote for that. Got any gumdrops on you? Know what I mean, Jelly Bean?
Well, this is something that I'd like to do two pieces that's an expression of something that people don't usually like to talk about or admit these days in this crazy mixed up world, and that has to do with deep, painful loneliness. And usually they don't even like to admit it to themselves. And the first is called Saturday Night Live. Howling in the night like a scared dog on the loose in a strange neighborhood. Like a strange phone call in the middle of sleep, I wake from a dream, listening to live guitar music, scratching my brain, reminding me of the loose, screwed-up night I fell into with a leap, and crawled back up to morning, watching the light emerge through sharp edges of white Venetian blinds, always a reminder of the next day, emerging to its source, rising to a high note of light and letting go again when it all runs out and the white turns into a star. Howling for far-fetched dreams in the great unknown, I lean on the moon's grace for company and seek the light of its fine-honed shine to alleviate the tension between the light of a massive day and the white of a star or two, merging into morning like a lonely lost dog, yelping and howling its last cry of the night. And that very same day, this is called Amnesia. Springsteen screams out of the radio like a cat on fire for a little of that human touch, beyond that of his steel guitar cutting beneath the fingers. It's Saturday, a motionless afternoon, in the heat of late June, blurring my vision to the immediate only, the chair and Springsteen screaming through the fans. I am too old now to remember. Even last year, a month is a decade, and days play their games with my brain like short sarcasms or those brief cold sweat seconds after a bad dream. Like amnesia in a heat spell, I am lucid only when a certain word is called, like a catchphrase or someone suddenly clasping my wrist, and then I recall a name or a book. A few words may be tied in string around my mind, but loosely, until I'm back in the dog-day sleep of mid-afternoon, with the immediate again around me like shrubbery, hard and sharp, and biting at my skin while I sleep.
It must be awful to have trouble with Saturdays that way. My problem day is usually Tuesday, as my friends will attest. Anyway.
Well, I'd like to do two poems about poets, not you and I, but the first was written as a reaction to the New Yorker spread on Sylvia Plath.
Name dropper.
Which kind of rubbed me the wrong way, not because I'm in love with Plath's work, but because in the article, a lot of people interviewed pretended to know exactly where Plath was at and made a lot of comments about her work. And of course, the dead poet cannot defend herself, so I decided to. And it's called Plath's Pretension. Sylvia Plath ain't got nothing on me. The talent of derangement and foolish love spilt from rejection, not a thing. It don't matter if she paid her dues with the sweat of a lonely poet, tearing her own prayers into bits while spitting at her faces with a sideways grin. It just ain't me. And it's not in my cards to die on my knees with a stove in my mouth. The poet princess putting her foot down too hard against her mind when she already knew it wasn't real, to see double in the eyes of strangers and father figures who fell across her life like dead weight. She can't touch me when it comes to relying on a passionate moment, indulging in the festering joy of it all, and later recalling the mood swing I caught and wondering why. But really, she doesn't touch me at all. And besides, she left herself wide open to the campy plague of aspiring wannabes, itchy to make a score on a sure-bet princess with a sympathy vote to the dead. Really, Daddy, I'm through with that 50s jive that drives a hard beat into the core of madness and then canonizes the self-centered secrets to their graves. I ain't no confessional poet. And Sylvia Plath couldn't touch me with a 10-foot pole. And besides, she was much taller.
Oh, I don't know if that would be such a handicap. She sounds like a really fun date, though.
And this really needs no introduction. It's for all you beat poets out there. It's called Jack Kerouac's Dream. I said it must be Mexico City, fitfully frightened and resigned to believe, because it has to be the city of dreams, collecting me in its clouds, drifting higher than my own brazen ideas could know no farther than the lower New York streets, holding me now on high in its white fog. I said it must be the fire of the sun, so strong about that horror city, reclining in a shine of stone and setting fire to an age breathing silently in darkness. When will I begin to breathe beyond allegiance to the grime and asphyxiated fright of the crowd around my thoughts? And when did I recoil from the heat of scorn to wallow in my own crimes? Why is my finger so crossed around the other in an embrace of chance, while the forgotten rights and wrongs of nights past prolong their frayed reason into my own? It must be Mexico City, erasing the streets around me with a rousing perfection of ancient gods, threatening and praising me. It must be the horror city, erasing the ruins around me into the lurid light of morning, while I wallow in darkness and hide in the lower New York streets, dreaming of genius.
Plath and Kerouac. Is it true what I've heard about those two? Well, we'll have to save that for another show, I think. Cindy, I want to thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, we're going to be moving on to
okay.
Ad Augeri and his talking guitar.
I'll have to save the rest for your next show. One of those.
Well, that will ensure that there will be a next show, so it works out very nicely for all concerned.
Thank you.
All right, so thank you for being on Poet to Poet. Cynthia Andrews.